Welcome to today's TuneUp challenge, where I take songwriting and I break it down into a simple practice so you can discover how easy and fun songwriting can be. Are you curious about harmonizing a melody? In today's TuneUp challenge, I will discuss how to make a parallel harmony. Now, I'm going to discuss this in two ways: how to create a chromatic parallel harmony and how to create a diatonic parallel harmony. The difference is that a chromatic parallel harmony has notes that are not always in the key signature. A diatonic parallel harmony does have notes that are always within the key signature. What we're used to is more of the diatonic kind in country, bluegrass, pop. It sounds pleasant to the ear because all the notes are in the key signature. Chromatic, on the other hand, is interesting and can be used in a layered way to sort of create a more exotic sound and is worth exploring. Both are parallel, and what I mean by parallel is that as the main melody moves up or down, the harmony moves in parallel motion with it. The main melody goes up, the harmony goes up. The main melody goes down, the harmony goes down. It will help, especially in this challenge, if you have resources open in regards to key signatures, the names of the notes on your instrument, and intervals. I like to use muted.io. It has everything in one space. Once I've established my key signature, I can easily see what notes are in that key signature, as well as the main chords, major, minor, and diminished chords. And that really helps to just have it laid out there so I'm not trying to fit it all in my head. So I highly recommend to open those tabs and let's get started on this challenge. I have provided a brand new melody, some brand new lyrics with my voice. It's how I think. I'm walking around the world, I hear something, I put it in my phone. That's what I've done. And now I'm giving it to you. I'm going to be working in BandLab today. We're going to take this melody as the starting point, and I'm going to show you how you can think about harmony. The first step I've done is I've taken my sung melody into BandLab on a voice track. I have pulled up another instrument track, a piano, and matched the line. So I recreated and found the line so I can now name the notes that I am singing. The next thing we need to do now that we have identified the notes is establish the key. So the key signature is already up in my project. I am in G major. I'm giving you this during this exercise. How do you establish a key? You find the central note that all the others seem to revolve around and play or sing a major or minor scale underneath it to determine your starting point. So our very first note in this song, we can see right here, is D. That is my D note, but it is not the home of the entire melody. What feels more like home is the G. And it's not until here that I hit it. Bum, and if I sing the major scale, bum, 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 it will fit with the notes in my melody. The first sort of harmonization that we're going to do is going to be called a chromatic parallel harmony. A chromatic parallel harmony is chromatic because it will involve notes that are not in our key signature. And it is called parallel because as the melody moves up, the harmony melody moves up. As the main melody moves down, the harmony melody moves down. To illustrate this first, I'm going to just duplicate this track. Now I have two of the same melody, right? So sixths usually work well. Look what happens if I simply grab all the notes and move them down a sixth. Down a sixth from D, or you could think of it as up a third within the key signature of G, is F sharp. So I've moved the first note down to F sharp. I've essentially copied the melody and just moved it down. It's like playing the melody in a different key signature. Listen to what it sounds like. It sounds a little off because some of the notes are not technically in the key signature. We've only kept the relative interval between the main melody and this new melody exactly the same. Everything is an exact sixth below the primary melody. Let's take a closer look at this. Our very first melody starts on D, goes to E, comes back to D, and then goes down to B. All of those notes are in the key of signature of G major. Our new melody, when we bumped everything down, just 8 half steps, starts on an F sharp. That is in the key signature of G. But then my note here is on G sharp. G sharp is not in the key signature. So what is in the key signature, if we want to keep it nicer sounding, it would be a diatonic tone of G. So just move that G sharp down to a G. Lastly, the end note here, I originally had a B. This is now knocked down to either a D sharp or an E flat. E flat is not in the key signature, D sharp is not, but D is. So we move it down to D. So now our harmony is going to sound a little more like it fits because we've adjusted the notes that were outside of the key signature to be in the key signature. That sounds a little more pleasing to the ear. Now let's take a look at the second phrase here. My main melody starts on a B, goes down to an A, G, A, B, D, and then over here on a long B. Let's take a look at our second melody here. All of these notes have been moved down, remember, exactly 8 half steps. Some of them may not be in the key of G, and we're going to adjust those to be in the key of G. On the main melody here, I have either an E flat or a D sharp. This needs to come down because D sharp is not in the key signature, but D is. On my next note in the main melody, there was an A. This is the same one. I'm just going to drag this across. It's an approximation. Right? Now the next note, which was an A, looks like it's on a C sharp here. C sharp is not in the key of G, so we have to move this down to C because C is in the key signature. The next one, the main melody was a G when it was adjusted in the second. In the second melody, it became a B. And B is in our key signature, so this is good, this is good, this is good. And this is a repeat from before, so you know that goes down. This comes down as well. And our final note in our melody above was a D. And when it shifted, now it is an F sharp, which is in the key signature, so this one is good. And our last long note, which in the main melody is a B, has now become a D sharp or E flat, which is not in the key signature. So again, we have to move this one down to be in the key signature. And now it should sound like it fits a little better. So let's hear what it sounds like. So as you can see, we're going to continue on with this melody. And we're adjusting it from a chromatic parallel harmony to a diatonic harmony. So to recap, I took my main melody and I copied it and moved everything down exactly 8 half steps. That is a chromatic parallel harmony. It's like you're playing the melody in a completely other key signature. Sometimes some of the notes will be in your key signature and other times they won't be. Secondly, we went into the chromatic parallel melody and we adjusted the notes that were not in the key signature to be in the key signature. That is called diatonic. And now we have something that sounds rather pleasant. Going back to the chromatic parallel harmony, you can use this to create a sort of timbre or a harmony that could be used. It sounds rather exotic, but let's start with duplicating the track again. So here's I'm going to name it number 2. And like before, I have number 2 selected. I'm going to zoom out so I can see all the notes. This is the original melody again. I'm going to select all the notes and I'm going to move them down a fourth. That sounds pretty interesting. Let's do it again. I'm going to duplicate this track 2. I call it 3. So this is a copy of the one that we just did, and we're going to move it down again. Select all the notes. So we're going from an A. Let's go to an F sharp. Let's see what we get now. It sounds really interesting. If we moved that down even to an F instead of an F sharp. Now this could be used as an effect or to create a mood, and what you're doing basically is copying the melody and just moving it down in a combination of half steps multiple times and multiple tracks. So right now we have 3 at different intervals. Now many of the notes are not in the key signature. That's why it sounds sort of jarring to the ear. Today's tune-up challenge: harmonize a melody. Parallel harmony. I look forward to hearing your harmonies inside the Tuneagers Club.